You know, when I was in college, you could not find an Avengers shirt anywhere. But man, there were X-Men shirts everywhere. Funny how times change. Maybe we'll see X-Men shirts again soon if they ever get a movie done. It's time for a cassette story for this week. Unlike my Spotify show, this one is not wrapping up. This series will continue, or Spotify will have this exciting final 4-part issue on this weekend. Then we're gonna... Well, we might change it up. I might end up doing the same thing. I don't know. It's a TBD, to be determined. But I'm getting off the subject at hand, and that is this episode's particular cassette. And while I don't have a lot of stories about this... I say that a lot, don't I? I don't have a lot of stories about this cassette. It does, however, lead me into some other things I do wish to talk about. So we'll call that good. What? It's Saigon Kick. They had a different album besides The Lizard? Yeah, they had a self-titled debut. This came out in 1980-something, 1991. 1991, I was right. Okay. So yeah, Saigon Kick, you of course remember them from Love Is On The Way. And, Lizard, which is a phenomenal album, by the way. This one isn't bad. But I heard The Lizard first, because, that was a big release. It got good reviews. That's right, Eileen. And, it was weird. I mean, they get shoved in the hair rock folder a lot, but they were a genuinely weirder band than a lot of people give them credit for. You listen to some of the songs on The Lizard, and they're just bizarre. They didn't really do the, they didn't look like Poison or whatever. They wore the Tesla, Guns N' Roses, jeans, bandanas kind of band. The later half of the hair rock era. Bands are like, hey, we don't have to glam up anymore, which was good. But, then we kind of went the full 9 yards back to Nirvana, or not dress up at all, really, which is true. But yeah, Saigon Kick's debut. I got this used after I don't remember when I got this used. Oh, hi, Eileen. Eileen might be on this episode. So I got this used. This is your basic Atlantic Records. They were Saigon Kick's label back then. I've had a couple labels since then. Why do you gotta use your claws to climb up here? Yes, okay, Eileen wants to be on the video. This is our cat, Eileen. She's 13. She's noisy. She's our blue-eyed baby girl. She's our oldest cat now, which is crazy to think. Remember when she was the youngest. Anyway, yeah, we got the band. Got some lyrics. But yeah, Saigon Kick, a genuinely weirder band than they get credit for. Now, this has some good songs on it, like What Do You Do, which is a fun one. I See You, Down by the Ocean, Susie. So, yeah, they had some interesting stuff. And, if you can check their stuff out online, it's definitely worth checking out. Because, yeah, if you're thinking they're going to sound like every other 80s band, they're not. They are their own thing. They're a little weird. Their later album's not as weird as their The Lizard, which really I don't think gets enough respect from the era it's from. But this leads me to another thing. Like, how often do... Oh, this is, by the way, the cassette. It's your clear technology, screws, all that. All right. Maybe you can answer this for me, Eileen. You're a cat with a brain, I think. I don't know. Your dad was pretty stupid. Rest in peace, Logan. How often do people nowadays, a new band comes out, but they're not new, do people still go out and listen to their early stuff if it's out there? A lot of bands nowadays don't get a second album if the first one doesn't turn out if they're on a major label. I mean, this is back when major labels would give you maybe 3-4 albums to get your footing. Nowadays, if your first couple singles don't get going, then the label's probably gonna shit can you. But I mean, would that matter? Like an artist who did okay enough to actually keep their deal and get a second major label album. Do people go out and seek that first one once the second one gets going? Like with Lizzo, she had a couple independent mixtapes before she hit it big. Do Lizzo fans go out and find that if they're just on board with Truth Hurts and Juice and Good as Hell? If they're new to the artist, do people still go out and seek their old stuff? Because, with Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music and Tidal, none of which sponsor me, or YouTube even has YouTube music, or just plain old YouTube. You can find some old out-of-print albums people just throw on there, and the record labels either don't know or don't care. You can find stuff, or Dat Piff. There's a lot of old mixtapes like Cardi B. Before she hit it big, she had 2 mixtapes, which, by the way, are both really good. I would recommend those. Really, though, I mean, is that something people still do? Or do we just find the one song we like by the new artist we like and just listen to that one to death? Or stream Drake 1,000,000 times or 1,000,000,000 times or whatever it is. I don't know. It seems like people don't do that anymore, if you ask me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I don't know. But I knew when Saigon Kicks the Lizard came out, and I found out it was their second album, I was like, well, I'm going to pick up that first one if I ever find it. Preferably used, because, while I liked the Lizard, I wasn't entirely sure that their first album would be as good. It turned out it was. Especially after their third album, which, really? We're going to clean my goatee right now. She's my goatee cleaner, by the way. Uncredited position. Yes, I know what cats lick. Young cats, you should be used to it by now. So yeah, do people do that anymore? I don't know. I mean, you've got almost all of recorded music at your disposal these days between the streaming services, YouTube, and other illicit methods that you could or could not use to check that. Like the other night, I was loading the dishwasher, and part of this I talked about on a TikTok is I just like to try to break my Spotify algorithm so it doesn't know what the hell to recommend. And part of it was, when I was a kid, there would be these commercials for the best of Slim Whitman, available on 2 cassettes, 2 records, or 4 8-track tapes for only $19.98 with shipping. And I always saw those commercials, and I'm like, what? I've never heard a Slim Whitman song. I mean, they had clips of him in the commercial, but, it's hard to judge from clips about that, what the Slim Whitman song would sound like all the way through. So I fired up the old Spotify and typed in Slim Whitman, and sure enough, they had a playlist. This is Slim Whitman. So I listened to Slim Whitman for like 12 minutes. It's very yodely. More Western. I mean, some people would say he's an old-time country and Western singer, but he's more of a Western singer. People forget that those didn't used to be the same thing. They get lumped together, but they aren't always the same. There can be country music that isn't very Western, but you can also have Western music that isn't very country. And I think Slim Whitman would definitely fall into the Western, but not as country as he is Western file. I'm not sure who else would be in there, but definitely, like maybe Roy Rogers, that's definitely more Western than country, but you would still, if you had to label it, you'd probably say country, but it would be more country and Western. So that's a thing. If this goes viral, maybe I'll just have cats on my videos all the time now. I don't know. I guess they have to be willing participants, and they aren't always. But yeah, I suppose we should see if this cassette's or not. I just wanted to get that off my chest. It's like, do people do deep dives into discographies anymore if they find a new artist they like? Or if they discover, like, let's say you discover the Beatles or Deep Purple, for another example of another band that has a ton of albums. Or it's another group that has some Bob Dylan, maybe, You're just into Bob Dylan because of his success recently, or you're going to go back and listen to his 70s stuff, his 60s stuff, dare I say his 80s stuff, which most Dylan fans would even say isn't his best stuff. But yeah, Saigon Kick. Let's see if it still cassettes. See, it's even in 91, Saigon Kick knew where the wind was blowing. They've definitely got that lower, growlier guitar that you had coming out of Seattle on their debut album. So yeah, Saigon Kick is still cassettes. And while I didn't have a lot to say about Saigon Kick, I had a lot to say about other things. So we'll eject till Sunday.